The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that whoever builds a mosque for Allah, Allah will build for him a similar house in Jannah. And we know the great reward that will not only be gained, but rather will fill your grave after your death. Whenever someone prays there, whenever someone gives shahada in the masjid, whenever someone learns something in the masjid, yes, that will be something that you'll have on your scale.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you guys doing? I'm here joined with the beast of the Middle East, with Ahmed Al-Basuni. How are you doing, bro? You're right, mashallah. Good to see you again.
I thought I was expecting you to say another name there. As you.
What shall I call you?
No, I thought you were going to say beast from the Middle East and say something like Ahmed Kamil.
Some other name, eh? Yeah. Ahmed Kamil is a friend of ours, actually, mashallah. He's a good guy. He should be here as well, making these videos with us. But unlike Ahmed Kamil and other good people like Zishan and Ali Dawa and these good people, today we're going to be talking about a scumbag, aren't we?
I don't know way to put it.
You know, we're talking about a chav, aren't we? Yeah, and for those who don't know what the word chav means, it's essentially the UK version of a hillbilly, like a redneck. You know,
oh my word.
He's a documented junkie. He's a person who's, even in this interview that I watched parts of it, I couldn't watch all of it, but he admitted that he's uneducated. He has absolutely no education. He admitted
I can't handle listening to it for more than 5 minutes, to be honest.
Yeah, but the thing is, he kind of presents like he's on this podcast with these guys that seem to be somewhat educated, trigonometry guys. They seem to be somewhat educated, probably to a good level. Okay, and they're asking him questions about essentially what is an academic topic, about Islam, right? Which is a religion, and then you got historical aspects of Islam, the scriptural aspects of Islam, etc., right? And they're asking him all these questions, and he's like giving his non-professional answer, and we've heard some of it, but let's go through some of them, because we can just debunk some of those things and show the ridiculousness of listening to a chav for your academic information. So let's go for the first clip and come back and respond in kind.
So 2010, it's a crime. 2010, I'm in jail. I'm doing 22 weeks of solitary confinement at that point. Yeah.
For what?
For illegally entering America.
Right.
Stupid move.
Yeah.
Do you know what it was? I'll tell you the truth.
Do you have any idea just how hypocritical that is?
It's pathetic, really, isn't it?
Because
Mr. Immigration, Mr. Anti-Immigration.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's constantly banging on about the immigrants and the taking of the
illegal immigrants.
You did it yourself, bro. You did it yourself. You went to America illegally.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
got imprisoned for it.
Yeah.
Like the hypocrisy is just...
And the Americans, who are also far right, basically, you know, the hillbilly Americans, who know about this guy, they wouldn't reprimand him for this.
You know what annoys me the most about this? It's this white privilege.
Yeah, that's
where
true.
It's like, you know what? No, mate, I'm Tommy Robinson.
Yeah.
Hey, mate, me?
Yeah.
I'm a white man.
Yeah.
With the English background.
Yeah.
The ancestry. English through and through.
But he's actually Irish, you know.
Bro, whatever. For him, he's thinking...
His real name is Laxley, Stephen Laxley, Lennon or something.
He's thinking, I'm as white as they come. I'm going to go to America, the land of the free. Why would they reject me for?
Yeah.
I'm the head of the EDL.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Bro, you're subject to the laws the same way we are. Us brown and black guys. Yani the other, if you want to call them the other. Subject to the same laws that we're subject to. You went to US illegally. The irony of that
it's pathetic.
It's glaring, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go for the next clip, see what he says.
Do not be friends with Christians or Jews. And I challenge anyone to do this. Pick up a Quran and go through and make reference to the verses that tell you not to be friends with Christians or Jews. And I started writing these verses and I had pages of them. And I was like, it was like a jigsaw just fell into place. Everything I've seen growing up, the Muslim playground, the Muslim dinner tool, the friends who side with them, well, they're taught from a little age. Supremacy, they're taught not to be friends with us. They can't be friends with us.
Yeah, do you want to respond to this?
So the first part, first of all, he's misquoted the ayah. Like, don't take non-Muslims as friends. That is not what the ayah says.
Yeah.
It says allies.
Yeah, awliya.
Awliya, exactly. That's one. If anything, we have contrary. We have ayat that actually say the opposite.
Yeah.
That in yani you can be was Surah Mumtahana or Surah Tahrim.
No, Surah Al-Mumtahana,
What's the ayah?
where it says لا ينهاكم الله
Exactly. لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في
من
الدين.
ديني ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم
That's
وتقسطوا
right.
إليهم.
تبروهم
وتقسطوا.
تقسطوا إليهم.
So just translate this for the people. So Allah does not forbid you to be just with non-Muslims who have not tried to take you out of your homes.
Exactly. Yes.
And have not tried to kill you. لم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم, that you be good with them.
Yes.
And that وتقسطوا إليهم, that you're also just with them. إن الله يحب المقسطين, that Allah loves the ones who are just.
Yes. In
So
other words, if they're being good with you.
Sure.
You should be good
And
with
like,
them.
for example, right, we are talking about, it says the opposite. It does say the opposite in Surah Luqman, for example, chapter 31 of the Quran, where Allah mentions if you've got non-believing parents, if they tell you to do shirk with Allah, فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا وَصَاحِبُهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا, and be friends with, literally be friends with them. Now, the thing is, if the interpretation of Islam is the way he wanted us to believe it, it would actually defy the life of the Prophet, because he had, for example, his uncle Abu Talib. Okay, Abu Talib was a non-Muslim, and you cannot say that the Prophet ﷺ, A, was not friends with him, or B, did not love him. In fact, an ayah came down about him, إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ, that you won't guide who you love, meaning that you love him. So you can even love, and the thing is, you can marry a Christian as a Muslim. So how can you marry them and not be friends with them?
Exactly.
So look, there's so many examples of this. It's pathetic. This is not what Islam encourages. It's not what Islam preaches. It's, you have a misunderstanding because you're a chav and you haven't done your GCSE English, or because you're taking it from the playbook of Islamophobes or extremists and radicals. This is not what we believe. This is not what Islam teaches. It's not what it preaches. Nothing of the sort. In fact, you can have hubb tabi'i. All the scholars of Islam say you can have natural love to non-believers.
He also went on to say the Muslim playgrounds and the Muslim this and the Muslim. I don't know what this guy has seen or what he's referring to.
Yeah, he grew up in Luton.
But, bro, I don't understand. Like here in London, I can't speak for Luton. I've not lived there.
Yeah.
But here in London, I've never in my life
seen a Muslim
some
playground.
Muslim exclusive group like playground or I don't know what he's on about. In my opinion, that's just clutching at straws. And this supremacy thing, where's that from? Please, قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ.
And you know
Bring
what?
your evidence if you're truthful.
Like, if you really, we don't want to open the can of worms now, but he's like always talking about the idea of, and always talking about Zionism and Jews in a favorable way. But Judaism as a religion, let's look at the Talmud and see how it describes the Goy, how it describes people who are not Jewish, and how many scholars of Judaism interpret it in that manner. Interpret, for example, that Jews are the favored people, which, by the way, the Quran explicitly condemns, if you could say that, and refutes, and that instead of this, all of the other people are there to serve them, etc. There's so many quotations of that.
Why doesn't he bring this heat to the Jewish community? This is what I want to understand.
Yeah.
Why does he not bring the same heat? If he's consistent, why doesn't he bring the same heat to the Jewish community? When the Jewish community have their own ambulance service, when they have their own police, when they have their own security guards guarding their schools, why does he not? I've never heard him mention this. I mean, like I said, I can't stand listening to him for more than 5 minutes. So maybe there is something out there, but
there is not. I don't think there is.
I've never come across anything where he's attacking the Jewish community the same way he attacks the Muslim community.
Yeah, and look, the halakha is very similar to Sharia in many ways, and much more strict in many ways. And here's something I would say: almost everything, if not everything, you will criticize Islam for, Judaism either has it, or has it on a more severe scale.
Version, exactly.
Yeah, let's not say more extreme, because then it would indicate there's maybe some extremity. But like on a more severe level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's hear the next clip.
So the Jewish tribes surrender. Now, when they surrender, Muhammad tortures Kanana, he's the leader of the Jewish tribe, setting fire to his stomach to rob his gold. What sort of prophet is this? I'm thinking, what sort of man is this? Jesus says turn the other cheek. Muhammad's torturing and burning people and robbing them. Yeah, so he's robbing them.
Yeah, I checked the reference for this. He mentioned somewhere before in this discussion. He was like, "Well, Ibn Ishaq mentions kada wa kada, this and that." The thing is, first of all, he didn't pronounce the word Ibn Ishaq properly. He couldn't even speak English, so I don't know why he thinks he can speak Arabic. Ibn Ishaq is a resource that we do not consider authoritative in the way that he's described, because he said it was very authoritative. In fact, it's meant to be a compendium of authoritative and non-authoritative hadith, and the one that he mentioned is actually fabricated. So there is no strong authentic hadith that says that Kinana was tortured in any way by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In fact, there is no such a record at all that is relied upon by the Muslims, and something we don't accept. And so therefore it's not mentioned in the books of jurisprudence and fiqh. And so he just mentioned this because he probably read it in one of those anti-Islamic websites. He did not read that from the Quran. He did not read that from a primary source. He did not come to his conclusions himself. And had he read that from an English translation of Ibn Ishaq, I guarantee you there'd probably be a footnote in the bottom of the page saying this hadith is inauthentic.
Well, I don't even believe that he read the Quran when he was in prison. I don't believe that at all.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I found all of this. That's not even in the Quran. So like, I don't understand what he's on about. It's this attempt to make himself seem like, oh look, I'm a researcher, or I've looked into this properly. And I'm bringing this newfound knowledge to bringing it to the surface and showing the people what Islam is all about.
Yeah, but do you know what? This trigonometry guys, unfortunately, they've done themselves a disservice with this, because they've brought an unlearned man, as like an ignorant guy, by any standard. Honestly, by any he would not be accepted to teach in a primary school or even a nursery, bro. Like, this guy, he can't teach a child. He's not qualified to teach a child. Okay, you've brought a guy at that level to speak to the public about a very sophisticated academic topic. You haven't. Okay, look, there are anti-Islamic people who are academics. You could have got, if you really wanted to hear that voice, got an anti-Islamic person and maybe got an Islamic person, got them to debate each other. But what you've done to yourself is you've created a disservice. You've made a disservice, because now you're making the public ignorant. Your fans and your followers are now become more ignorant. Let's hear the next one.
He said something about Sophia in the same quote.
Yeah, the Sophia one is there.
And then after robbing them, he takes that night, Sophia, so any Muslims, and when I have this conversation with Muslims, they don't even know about this, half of them. Yeah? I said, he took the man's wife that night and married her. Now here's the two different worldviews. I see that as raping the man's wife that night. Other Muslims have said, well, no, he saved her from a life of slavery, from all the other men raping her, because he took her. He was actually really good because he saved her. It's like, what? But anyway, he beheads these people, he does this, and I started going through his life.
Yeah, so he says he sees it as raping. But so let's read some authentic narrations about this then, because I don't know where. First of all, if you're going to say something about a religion, okay, if I'm going to say something about Christianity or Judaism or something like that, and you're making this claim, you need to have the references at hand. You need to be ready. So if someone says, where exactly? So chapter number, verse number, or it's mentioned in such and such a source. Yeah. He hasn't done that. So he says, oh, I see that as raping, etc. Let's read some of the hadiths relating to this.
Also, it should be mentioned before you do, the moment you do make a claim like this, and it turns out that you were lying or that it was false, it just discredits everything you have to say after that. Yeah. Everything you have to say after that completely discredits it.
It discredits
because now I'm just going to doubt everything you say, because you've lied before, you've made these claims before, and you twisted it or you manipulated it to seem like something to fit your own narrative, but in reality that's not the reality.
Bring the academic referencing. Okay, the Prophet ﷺ, in a hadith, this is what happened, right? He said, your father was always among the most hostile Jews towards me until Allah caused him to be killed. Obviously, he was a combatant on the other side of Banu Qurayza. And we've discussed at length that Banu Qurayza were not killed because they were Jews. They were killed because they were treacherous. People like Karen Armstrong mentions that in her book, A Short Introduction to Islam. People who are non-Muslim agree with that. She replied, O Messenger of Allah, indeed Allah says in his book, no bearer of burdens will bear the burden of another. So she's basically saying, me and my father are distinct in our beliefs. The Prophet ﷺ then said to her, choose. He says, choose. You can choose yourself. If you choose Islam, I will keep you for myself, meaning I'll marry you, right? And if you choose Judaism, perhaps I will set you free so that you may join your people. So it's saying, if you choose Judaism, you will be set free. This is Itq is mentioned in Arabic. I will set you free. In fact, that's the proper translation. So he's giving her a choice. You said that, well, he took her and he raped her, but he's clear in this narration here, he's giving her a choice. She said, "O Messenger of Allah, I have desired Islam and believed in you before you invited me, and when I came to your household, I have no desire for Judaism. I have neither father nor brother here, and you have offered me a choice between disbelief and Islam. So Allah and His Messenger are dearer to me than the freedom and returning to my people." This is Tabaqat al-Kubra, the 8th volume, 123. So that's one. The other one is,
and then there was a waiting period at the end of that.
There was a waiting period.
So it's not even
Istibra' al-Dhimma, and I know he mentions that as well.
So mentioning, and then he
raped her. So, but there was clearly a transitional period,
and it was consensual.
It was consensual. She clearly chose it.
You're going to make the argument of, it was a decision that was made at the time. No, there was a waiting period after that also.
Yeah, and that's what it says here in Bukhari. Actually, the waiting period thing is mentioned in Bukhari. He departed with her, meaning Safiya bint Huyay, when we reached a place called Sadd al-Rawha. She became lawful. Her waiting period had ended, right? So he consummated the marriage with her. So he consummated the marriage with her after a waiting period had ended. So you're making a claim about rape. That's number one. We've shown you the hadith tradition. The Quran itself has something about this, which is that the Quran mentions in Surah Al-Ahzab that Allah is saying to the Prophet to say, He says, "In kuntunna turidna al-hayat ad-dunya," to his wives, Ya Nisa Nabi, "In kuntunna turidna al-hayat ad-dunya wa zinataha fata'alain." O wives of the Prophet, if you want to choose the world and its adornment, then come. ومتعكن وأسرحكن سراحا جميلا. I will give you a provision and I will let you go a fine departure. So it's not there's no grudge here. There's no grudge here. It's not even like you'll be shamed in society, etc., etc. No, there'll be no grudge. If you don't want to be part of this marriage, all the scholars of Islam say about this verse that they all had a choice. Do you know how a man in Islam can say anti talaq to a woman? He has a choice to, in that way. And they had a choice as well. So the Prophet ﷺ, number one, in the hadith clearly gave her a choice. Number two, in the ayah is clearly giving another choice within the marriage. And number three, the rape allegation. This is a very powerful thing that people don't realize. There was a woman called Al-Jawniyah, or Bint Jawn, who is mentioned in Bukhari, by the way, who came to the Prophet ﷺ, married him. Okay, people don't know about this wife. And on that day she said, "A'udhu billah mink," which is, "I seek refuge in Allah from you." He said to her, "Idhab ila ahlik," go back to your family. Meaning what? That if you're not desirous to be with me, then I don't need you here. You can go back to your family if that's where you feel comfortable, etc., etc. The moment any woman has ever shown an inkling of not wanting to be with the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he's always let them go.
Yep. Always given that option.
Given the option to let them go. So in other words, there is no credible evidence, okay, in Islam, Quran or Sunnah for what you're saying. That's the problem with these guys in trigonometry, just nodding along and they're not here. Look, you're not doing yourself a favor with this. Okay, you can believe that all you like. That's just not what we believe as Muslims. We don't believe in rape. We don't believe in, non-consensual stuff. We don't believe in not taking non-Muslim friends as divisive. And we don't believe in this. We're traditional Muslims. This is not a liberal perspective. This is the classical perspective. This is the traditional perspective. Okay,
that's backed by evidence.
That's backed by all the references we've given today. Like, we're not saying take our word for it. We're not saying, oh, you got to listen to us because, we're Muslims or whatever. We're saying go back to the evidence. Like anything else, go back to the references. It's an academic discourse. So Tommy Robinson is a person who does not have knowledge. Okay, and so therefore should not be consulted. Okay, maybe you can ask him about his own experience from his own biased narrative and all that. But that's as far you should go, asking a person questions like that. But asking him, well, what do you think about your studies about Islam? I actually blame trigonometry more than I blame Tommy Robinson.
It's almost reminiscent of the Nelk boys when they had on Netanyahu, asking him about what's your favorite Big Mac.
There's no pushback. No pushback at all.
What are you doing? What are you actually doing? Like, you should know better.
Yeah, you should know better. But anyway, with that, we will conclude. If people want to see some more of your content, right, we'll go.
Ahmed_Al-Basyuni, and you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Well, I think they'll be definitely going to check you out and subscribing and following you now. If they want to waste their time, of course. Anyways, with that, we will conclude with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hey you, are you wasting your time on social media again? Your brothers and sisters in Islam Net from Norway are establishing a masjid, a dawah center. Establishing a masjid to convey the message of Islam is one of the best deeds a Muslim can do. There's a huge need for it in Norway. You know this and I know this. So that makes the reward even greater. So give generously and Allah Azza wa Jal will give you even more.